6 months after my husband died, I saw him standing by a tomato stall at the market. Not in my dreams. Not in my thoughts. Right there. Breathing. Moving. Touching vegetables like nothing ever happened. My legs stopped working. My heart slammed so hard I thought it would tear my chest open. The basket in my hand slipped, and oranges rolled across the dirty ground. People shouted. Someone laughed. But all I could see was him. The man wore the same brown jacket I buried with my own hands. The same walk. The same small bend in his left shoulder. When he turned his head just a little, I saw the scar near his ear. That scar was from the night our cooking gas exploded. My husband was dead. I saw his body. I washed it. I cried over it. I watched them lower him into the ground. So why was he buying tomatoes? I followed him. Before I continue, please listen to me. If you love emotional, shocking and powerful stories like this, support this channel. Click the subscribe button, like this video, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss stories that will shake your heart. And please tell me in the comments which part of the country you are watching from. I want to know who is here with me on this journey. Because what I saw after I followed that man changed my life forever. He moved fast, like someone who knew where he was going. I stayed behind, hiding between people, my head spinning. I told myself it was stress, grief, that maybe my mind was broken from crying too much. But then he laughed. That laugh. I had not heard it since the night he died. My chest burned. My fingers shook. I followed him out of the market, past the fish sellers, past the women shouting prices, past the place where my husband used to buy roasted corn for me every Sunday. The man turned a corner. I turned too. And then everything went black in my head. Because he entered the small street where I lived. That was where I lost control. But let me go back. Let me tell you how I got here. 6 months ago, my life ended. That night, rain fell hard. The power went out. We were eating late. He complained the soup was cold. I complained that he came home late again. It was a small fight. A normal fight. The kind married people have every day. Then the smell of gas filled the kitchen. I shouted his name. He stood up fast. There was a sound like thunder. After that, there was fire, smoke, screaming. I woke up in the hospital with bandages on my hands and tears on my face. They told me I survived because I was near the door. They told me he did not. They said his body was burned badly. I did not believe them until I saw him. They wrapped him in white cloth. His face was still. His hands were cold. The scar near his ear was there. I screamed until my voice broke. They buried him 2 days later. After the burial, people came every day. They brought food. They cried with me. They told me I was strong. After 1 month, they stopped coming. After 2 months, the house became quiet. After 3 months, the nights became long. I slept with the lights on. I talked to his picture. I kept his clothes folded. I did not touch his side of the bed. After 6 months, I forced myself to go to the market. That was the first time. And that was when I saw him. Back at the market, after the shock passed, fear entered me. Not soft fear. Deep fear. The kind that makes your stomach turn cold. If that was not my husband, why did he look exactly like him? And if that was my husband, where had he been for 6 months? He walked into my street like he belonged there. Like he never left. Like he did not die. I stayed far behind, hiding behind a woman carrying firewood. My legs felt heavy, but my eyes refused to look away. He stopped in front of a house. Not my house. The house opposite mine. That house had been empty for years. No one lived there. The door was always locked. The windows were broken. But now, the door opened. A young boy ran out. "Daddy!" the boy shouted. "Daddy!" The man smiled. My heart nearly stopped. He lifted the boy and kissed his cheek. The boy laughed. A woman came out. She wiped her hands on her dress and smiled at him like she had done it 1,000 times. She was pregnant. I covered my mouth to stop myself from screaming. My husband had no children. My husband had no other wife. My husband was buried in the ground. So who was this man? The woman said something to him. He nodded. He looked around the street. For a moment, his eyes moved in my direction. I stepped back fast. My back hit the wall. My breath stopped. Did he see me? I waited. 1 second. 2 seconds. Then I heard the door close. I ran. I ran into my house and locked the door. My whole body shook. My head felt like it would burst. I slid down to the floor and cried like a child. That night, I did not sleep. Every sound made me jump. Every shadow looked like him. I kept seeing the boy's face. Hearing the word, Daddy. The next morning, I went to his grave. I stood there for a long time. Who did I bury? I whispered. The wind did not answer. That day I decided something. I would follow him again. I needed to know the truth. Even if it destroyed me. 2 days later, I went back to the market at the same time. I waited. My heart beat fast. Then I saw him. Same jacket. Same walk. This time, I did not drop my basket. I did not freeze. I followed him closely. He noticed. I was sure he noticed. He walked faster. So did I. He left the market, turned into another street, then another. People became fewer. Houses became quiet. My fear grew. Then suddenly, he stopped. He turned around and looked straight at me. Not through me. At me. Our eyes met. And he said my name. He said my name. Not loud. Not soft. Just clear. My knees went weak. My mouth opened, but no sound came out. The world around me went quiet, like someone turned it off. I stared at his face, waiting for it to change, waiting for him to laugh and say it was a joke. But he looked confused. Why are you following me? He asked. That voice. It was the same voice that used to call me when dinner was ready. The same voice that whispered to me at night. The same voice I heard for years. I stepped back. You are dead, I said. People passed us on the road. A woman carrying water looked at us and kept walking. A man pushed a wheelbarrow. Life continued, but my life stopped right there. The man frowned. What are you talking about? He said. Are you okay? I shook my head hard. No. I buried you. I saw you in the ground. He looked around like he was afraid someone was watching. Then he grabbed my arm and pulled me closer to a wall. Lower your voice, he whispered. You are making a scene. I pushed his hand away. Don't touch me, I shouted. He stepped back, eyes wide. Listen, he said. You must be mistaken. I don't know you. That broke me. I know the scar near your ear, I cried. I know the way you walk. I know your smell. I know your face in the dark. Don't lie to me. He touched his ear slowly. His face changed. Not fear. Not anger. Shock. Who are you? He asked again, softer this time. I laughed. It came out wrong. You really want to ask me that? I said. After everything? He took a deep breath. I think you should go home, he said. You are not well. Then he turned and walked away. I stood there, shaking. He did not run. He did not hide. He just walked away like I was a stranger. That hurt more than seeing him alive. That night, I could not stop thinking. If he was pretending, why? If he was not my husband, why did he look exactly like him? And why did he know my name? I decided to watch him. The next morning, I woke up early. I stood by my window and watched the house opposite mine. The one that was empty for years. The door opened. He came out. He stretched like someone waking up from a good sleep. The pregnant woman followed him, smiling. She handed him a bag. He kissed her forehead. That small action stabbed my heart. He walked away with the bag. I followed. From far behind. He went to a small building. A workshop. I stood across the road and read the sign. It said, auto repairs. He worked there. 4 hours. I watched him talk, laugh, fix cars, sweat. This was not a ghost. At noon, I went home. I needed answers. That evening, I went to the old box under my bed. The one with my husband's things. His phone was there. It was burned but still kept. His wallet. His ID. I stared at the picture on the ID. Same face. Same man. I remembered something then. Something small. Something I ignored before. 2 weeks before the gas explosion, my husband had received a call late at night. He stepped outside to answer it. When I asked who it was, he said it was work. He had no job at that time. I opened the old notebook where I wrote things to remember. I flipped pages fast. There it was. A note I wrote 6 months ago. Strange call again. He looked scared. My hands trembled. The next day, I did something I never thought I would do. I followed the pregnant woman. She went to the market. She greeted people. They greeted her back. They knew her. She was not new. An old woman stopped her. "How is your husband?" she asked. "He is fine," the woman said, smiling. "Just tired from work." The old woman laughed. "That man survived fire and still works like a machine." Fire. My heart jumped. That night, I waited until it was dark. I crossed the road and knocked on the door of that house. No answer. I knocked again. The door opened slowly. The pregnant woman stood there. "Yes," she said. I think I am lost," I said. She looked at me closely. "Do you need help?" Before I could answer, a voice came from inside. "Who is it?" He stepped into view. Our eyes met again. The room went silent. The woman looked between us. "Do you know each other?" she asked. He swallowed hard. "No," he said. I smiled. "That's not what you told me at the market," I said. His face went pale. The woman frowned. "What market?" He grabbed her hand. "Go inside," he said quickly. She looked confused but obeyed. He stepped closer to me and whispered, "You should not be here." I leaned in. "You should not be alive," I whispered back. His eyes filled with fear. "Please," he said. "Leave. Before you ruin everything." "Everything?" I asked. "You ruined my life." He shook his head. "You don't understand." "Then explain," I said. He looked around the dark street. Then he said, "If you come here again, you will be in danger." The door slammed. I stood there alone. But I knew one thing now. He remembered me. And he was hiding something big. The next morning, I went to the cemetery again. I stood by the grave. Then I noticed something that made my blood run cold. The soil around the grave looked disturbed, like it had been opened before. And right then my phone rang. An unknown number. I answered. A man's voice said, "Stop asking questions, or the next grave will be yours." My phone slipped from my hand and hit the ground. The call ended. I stood by the grave, staring at the disturbed soil like it was staring back at me. My heart beat so loud I was sure the dead could hear it. The wind blew softly, moving the flowers on nearby graves, but I could not move. "Who was that?" I whispered. No answer. I bent down slowly and touched the soil. It was loose. Fresh. Someone had been here. Recently. I felt dizzy. If my husband was not really in this grave, then whose body did I cry over? And if someone wanted me to stop asking questions, then I was getting too close to the truth. I left the cemetery quickly. All the way home, I felt eyes on me. Every sound made me turn around. A passing motorcycle made my heart jump. When I reached my house, I locked the door and pushed a chair against it. I did not sleep that night. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw the grave, the loose soil, the man's face at the door, the pregnant woman's confused eyes, the boy calling him Daddy. At sunrise, I made a decision. I would not confront him again. I would investigate quietly. That morning, I went to the local clinic. The nurse at the front desk looked tired. I smiled politely. "I'm looking for records from 6 months ago," I said. "There was a gas explosion." She nodded slowly. "Yes. That was a bad one." "My husband died," I said, lowering my voice. "I just need a copy of the report." She checked the computer. Her face changed. "That's strange," she said. My stomach tightened. "What is it?" "There were 2 men involved in that explosion," she said. 2. I repeated. "Yes. 1 died. 1 survived but was badly burned. He was transferred to another hospital the same night." My ears rang. "Transferred where?" She shook her head. "That part is missing." "Missing?" She leaned closer. "Some files were removed. I don't know why." I thanked her and walked out, my legs shaking. 2 men. That explained the scar, the fire, the survival. But it did not explain why the survivor looked exactly like my husband, or why he knew my name. That afternoon, I followed him again. This time, I was careful. I watched from a distance as he left his house. The boy ran after him and hugged his leg. The man bent down and whispered something to him. The boy smiled. "That should not have hurt me." But it did. He walked to the workshop again. I waited until he went inside. Then I walked past slowly, pretending to talk on the phone. Inside, I heard voices. "You sure no one followed you?" one man asked. "I'm sure," he replied. My chest tightened. "Because if she talks," the other man said, "everything is finished." I froze. They were talking about me. I walked away fast before they noticed me. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped my phone. That evening, I did something dangerous. I followed the boy. He walked home from a small school nearby. I stayed far enough so he wouldn't notice me. He stopped at a shop to buy sweets. I stood behind him. "You look like my uncle," the boy said suddenly, turning around. My heart jumped. "Your uncle?" I asked. "Yes," he said. "My daddy's brother." My mouth went dry. "Where is your uncle?" The boy shrugged. "Daddy said he went away and never came back." I swallowed hard. "What is your daddy's name?" Before he could answer, a hand grabbed my shoulder. I screamed. The man pulled me back. It was him. "What are you doing?" he shouted. I started. "Don't talk to my child," he yelled. People stared. The boy ran away, crying. The man pulled me into a quiet corner. His eyes were full of anger and fear. "You want to get me killed?" he hissed. "Killed by who?" I asked. He went silent. "Killed by who?" I repeated. He looked away. "Go home," he said. "Forget you ever saw me." "You are my husband," I said quietly. He closed his eyes. "No," he said. "I am not." "Then why do you have his face?" I asked. "Why do you have his voice? Why do you know my name?" He did not answer. I leaned closer. "And why is my husband's grave empty?" His eyes flew open. "Who told you that?" he asked. I smiled slowly. "So you do know." He grabbed my arm again. "Listen to me," he said urgently. "You are playing with something very dangerous." "Then tell me the truth," I said. He shook his head. Not here. Where then? Tonight, he said. After dark. My heart skipped. Where? He looked around and lowered his voice. The old river road. Before I could say anything else, he walked away. That night, I did not tell anyone where I was going. I waited until the street was quiet. I locked my door and stepped into the darkness. As I walked toward the old river road, a thought hit me like lightning. What if he was not meeting me to tell the truth? What if he was meeting me to make sure I never asked questions again? And just then, I heard footsteps behind me. The footsteps stopped when I stopped. My heart was beating so fast it hurt. I stood still on the dark road, holding my breath, listening. The night was quiet, too quiet. Even the insects had gone silent. I turned slowly. No one was there. Maybe I imagined it, I whispered to myself. I continued walking, but my steps were slower now. Every shadow looked like a person. Every sound felt closer than it was. The old river road was empty, just like people said it was after sunset. Trees bent over the road like they were watching me. Then I heard it again. Footsteps. This time, they were closer. I spun around. Who's there? I shouted. A man stepped out from behind a tree. Not him. This man was taller. His face was hard. His eyes were cold. He wore a dark cap pulled low over his face. You should have stayed home, he said. My legs felt weak. I'm just going for a walk, I said, trying to sound calm. He smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. You ask too many questions. My mouth went dry. Who are you? Someone who cleans up problems, he said. I stepped back slowly. I don't want trouble. He took one step closer. Too late. Suddenly, another voice cut through the darkness. That's enough. He stepped out from the shadows. The man with my husband's face. Leave her alone, he said firmly. The tall man laughed. You're protecting her now? She's not part of this, he replied. The tall man looked at me. She already is. The two men stared at each other. I could feel the tension between them, heavy like a storm about to break. Go, the man who looked like my husband said to me. Go home. Now. No, I said. You promised to tell me the truth. He looked at me, his eyes full of fear and something else. Guilt. There is no time, he said. The tall man pulled something from his pocket. A knife. I gasped. Before I could move, the man with my husband's face grabbed my hand and pulled me behind him. Run, he shouted. I did not wait. I ran. I ran until my chest burned and my legs screamed. I did not look back. I did not stop until I reached my house. I slammed the door shut and locked it. My whole body shook. I slid down to the floor, crying silently. They were not bluffing. I was really in danger. That night, I barely slept. Every small noise made me jump. At one point, I thought I heard someone outside my window. When I looked, there was nothing. At sunrise, I found something at my door. An envelope. No name. No stamp. My hands shook as I opened it. Inside was a photo. It was a picture of me, standing at the cemetery. Someone had been watching me. Written on the back were 3 words. Last warning. Stop. I felt sick. Later that day, I stayed inside. I closed all the curtains. I kept my phone close. I thought about calling the police, but what would I say? That my dead husband was alive? That strangers were threatening me? They would think I was crazy. In the afternoon, someone knocked on my door. My heart jumped. Who is it? I asked. It's me, a soft female voice said. I looked through the window. The pregnant woman. My hands trembled as I opened the door a little. What do you want? She looked nervous. We need to talk, she said. Please. I hesitated, then opened the door wider. She stepped inside and sat down slowly. She looked around my house, then at the picture of my husband on the wall. Her face went pale. "That's him," she whispered. My chest tightened. "You recognize him?" She nodded. "That's my husband." The room felt like it was spinning. "He's my husband too," I said quietly. She looked at me, confused. "That's not possible. Then why do you both call the same man your husband?" I asked. Tears filled her eyes. Because I was told he had no past." My heart sank. She took a deep breath. 6 months ago, he was brought to the hospital badly burned. He had no memory. No name. Nothing. I froze. "No memory?" "They said the fire damaged his head," she continued. "He didn't remember anything before the explosion. I was a nurse there. I took care of him." My knees felt weak. "He was alone," she said. "No family came for him. No one claimed him." I whispered, "Because they told me he died." She looked at me in shock. "What?" "They told me my husband died in that fire," I said. "I buried someone." Her face went white. "Then whose body was that?" We stared at each other. Then she grabbed my hand. "There's more," she said. My heart raced. "What more?" "He didn't lose his memory naturally," she whispered. "Someone paid the doctors to change the records." I pulled my hand away. "Why?" She shook her head. "I don't know. But people came to the hospital. Dangerous people." My phone buzzed on the table. An unknown number. We both looked at it. I answered slowly. A cold voice said, "You were warned." The call ended. The pregnant woman started to cry. And then, from outside my house, I heard slow footsteps, stopping right at my door. The footsteps stopped at my door. The pregnant woman grabbed my arm so hard it hurt. Her eyes were wide with fear. Neither of us breathed. We stood there, listening. A knock came. Slow. Heavy. My heart felt like it would burst out of my chest. "Don't open it," she whispered. Another knock. "Open the door," a man's voice said. Calm. Cold. I knew that voice. It was not him. It was the other man. The one from the river road. I stepped back slowly. "Go to the back room," I whispered to the woman. "Hide." She shook her head. "What about you?" "I'll handle this," I said, though my legs were shaking. The knock came again, louder this time. "If you don't open," the voice said, "we'll open it for you." I swallowed hard and unlocked the door. It opened. The tall man stood there. Same dark cap. Same cold eyes. 2 other men stood behind him. They did not smile. "You like digging into graves?" the tall man asked. I forced myself to look calm. "I don't know what you want." He stepped inside without waiting for permission. The other 2 followed. They looked around my house like they owned it. "You're asking questions you shouldn't," he said. "Talking to people you shouldn't." "I just want the truth," I said. He laughed softly. "The truth gets people buried." My chest tightened. "You already buried someone who wasn't my husband." His smile faded. "So you figured that out," he said. "Who was in that grave?" I asked. He walked closer until his face was inches from mine. I could smell smoke on his clothes. "Someone who looked enough like him," he said. My stomach turned. "You killed an innocent man?" He shrugged. "He was paid to disappear. Things went wrong." I felt sick. From the back room, I heard a small sound. The pregnant woman gasped. The tall man's eyes moved toward the sound. "Who else is here?" he asked. "No one," I said quickly. He snapped his fingers. One of the men walked toward the back room. "Stop!" I shouted. The tall man raised his hand, signaling the man to pause. He looked at me closely. "You're protecting someone." I shook my head. "Please." Just leave us alone. He smiled again. Us. My heart dropped. Before I could react, the door to the back room opened. The pregnant woman stepped out. The tall man stared at her, then laughed. So this is where you ran to? Her face went pale. You promised you would leave us alone. He tilted his head. Plans change. She moved closer to me. You said the past was erased. He nodded slowly. It was. Until she started remembering for him. My head spun. Remembering what? He looked at me. Your husband was not just a husband. Silence filled the room. What does that mean? I asked. He worked for us, the tall man said. Before the fire. My heart pounded. Worked doing what? He leaned in. Things that make people rich. And powerful. And dead. I felt weak. He tried to leave, the tall man continued. That's why the fire happened. I shook my head. No. He loved me. He would never. He loved you, the man interrupted. That was the problem. The pregnant woman started crying. You said he was safe now. He was, the tall man said. Until she showed up. He turned to me. You should have stayed quiet. One of the men moved toward me. I stepped back. Then suddenly, a voice came from outside. Get away from her. We all froze. He stood in the doorway. The man with my husband's face. His eyes were full of anger. Leave, he said firmly. The tall man laughed. Or what? Or I tell her everything, he said. My breath caught. The tall man's smile disappeared. You wouldn't. I will, he said. Right now. The tall man stared at him for a long moment. Then he raised his hand. Go, he told his men. They backed away slowly. At the door, the tall man turned to me. This isn't over, he said. Not even close. They left. The room felt empty and heavy. I turned to him. Tell me, I said. Everything. He looked at the pregnant woman. You should go. She shook her head. I'm not leaving him. He closed his eyes. Then you both need to hear this. He sat down slowly. I was not supposed to survive the fire, he said. They wanted me gone. Clean. No past. No future. My heart hurt. So they erased you. He nodded. They erased my name. My records. My memory. Tears filled my eyes. But you remembered me. He looked at me softly. Not at first. But faces come back. Feelings come back. Why didn't you come home? I asked. He looked away. Because if I did, they would kill you. The pregnant woman whispered. They said he was free. He shook his head. No one is free. My phone buzzed again. A message. I opened it. It was a picture. The picture was of the pregnant woman, earlier that day, walking alone. Below it were words that made my blood run cold. Choose who lives. The words on my phone blurred. Choose who lives. My hands shook so badly I almost dropped the phone. The pregnant woman covered her mouth and started crying. He jumped to his feet. They're serious, he said. They always are. Who? I asked, my voice breaking. Who are these people? He took a deep breath. People who never forgive betrayal. I felt dizzy. So this is my fault? I asked. Because I followed you? No, he said quickly. This started long before you saw me at the market. He paced the room like a trapped animal. I worked for them before I met you. I moved things. Money. Information. I didn't ask questions. My chest tightened. But you left. Yes, he said. When I realized what they really did to people. The pregnant woman whispered. You said you were just a driver. I was, he said softly. At first. Silence filled the room. I looked at the phone again. What do they want me to choose? He stopped pacing. They want you to break, he said. They want you to pick who matters more. My throat burned. That's not a choice. It is to them, he replied. The pregnant woman stepped forward. Take me, she said suddenly. Leave her out of this. No, I shouted. He turned to her. Don't say that. She touched her belly. I can't run. I can't hide. I felt tears run down my face. This is my husband. My life. And you're his wife too. None of this makes sense. He looked at me with pain in his eyes. I never wanted to hurt you. Then tell me everything, I said. No more secrets. He nodded slowly. After the fire, they told everyone I died, he said. But I didn't. I was alive. Burned. Broken. They moved me to another hospital. To erase you, I whispered. Yes, he said. They paid doctors. Changed records. Told me I had no past. The pregnant woman wiped her tears. They told me he had no family. They lied, I said bitterly. He looked down. When my memory started coming back, I panicked. I remembered your face. Your voice. Our home. Then why didn't you come to me? I asked again. Because the moment I did, he said, they would kill you. My chest felt tight. So instead, you married her. He flinched. It wasn't like that. I was trying to survive. The pregnant woman sobbed quietly. My phone buzzed again. Another message. A location pin. And a time. Tonight. They want us to come, he said after looking at it. Us? I asked. Yes, he said. All of us. Fear washed over me. That's a trap. He nodded. Of course it is. I shook my head. Then we don't go. He looked at me seriously. If we don't, they'll come here. As if on cue, headlights flashed outside my window. We all froze. A car passed slowly, then drove away. They're watching, he said. The pregnant woman whispered. What do we do? He looked at me. We need to move. Now. We packed only what we could carry. No lights. No noise. We left through the back door. The night air felt cold against my skin. Every sound made me jump. We walked through narrow paths, avoiding the main road. After a long time, we reached an old building near the river. Abandoned. Broken windows. Rusted door. We'll hide here until morning, he said. Inside, it smelled of dust and water. We sat on the floor in silence. Hours passed. Then the pregnant woman gasped. What? I whispered. She grabbed her stomach. Something's wrong. My heart dropped. Are you okay? She shook her head. It hurts. He moved closer. We need help. No, she said. If we go to the hospital, they'll find us, he finished. She cried quietly. Suddenly, footsteps echoed outside. Slow. Careful. A light flashed through the broken window. A familiar voice spoke from the darkness. You can't hide forever. My blood ran cold. They had found us. And the pregnant woman screamed in pain. Her scream cut through the dark building like a knife. I rushed to her side. She was holding her stomach, her face wet with sweat and tears. Her body was shaking. It hurts so much, she cried. My heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. I had never helped a woman give birth before. I did not even know what to do. He knelt beside her. His hands were shaking too. Stay with me, he said softly. Please. Outside, the footsteps stopped. Then a laugh echoed through the night. Perfect timing, the cold voice said. Looks like we all meet again. A flashlight beam moved across the broken wall. Shadows danced everywhere. We have to hide, I whispered. He shook his head. No. If we move her, she could die. The pregnant woman screamed again. The voice outside grew closer. "Open the door," the man said calmly. "We don't want to hurt anyone." Liar. I looked around fast. My eyes landed on a long metal rod on the floor. I picked it up with trembling hands. "Stay behind me," I told the woman. She grabbed my dress. "Please don't leave me." "I'm here," I said, even though I was terrified. The door creaked open. The tall man stepped inside. 2 other men followed him. Their faces were hard. Their eyes were empty. "Well," the tall man said, looking at the woman on the floor, "this is messy." He looked at me and smiled. "You should have chosen faster." "I didn't choose anyone," I shouted. He shrugged. "Then we choose for you." He nodded to one of the men. The man stepped forward. Before he could move closer, he stepped in front of us. "Don't," he said firmly. The tall man laughed. "You're still playing the hero?" "She's in labor," he said. "You kill her, you kill the baby too." The tall man's smile faded. "That's not my problem." Something inside me snapped. I lifted the metal rod. "If you touch her," I shouted, "I will scream until the whole street wakes up." The tall man raised an eyebrow. "And who will save you?" Before I could answer, a loud siren sounded in the distance. All the men froze. The siren came closer. Police. For the first time, fear crossed the tall man's face. "Who called them?" he snapped. I didn't answer. Because I hadn't. The siren got louder. The tall man cursed under his breath. "We leave. Now." He turned to him. "This isn't finished," he warned. Then they ran. The building fell silent again. The pregnant woman cried out, louder than before. "Please," she begged. "I think the baby is coming." Panic rushed through me. "We need help," I said. He nodded. "We can't hide anymore." We supported her as best we could and left the building. The police cars were down the road, but not close enough. We reached the main road and waved our arms. A small car stopped. Inside was an old woman. "She's having a baby," I shouted. The woman helped us quickly. We drove fast to the hospital. At the hospital, nurses rushed her inside. Doctors shouted instructions. They pushed us out. I sat on the floor, shaking. He sat beside me. His head was in his hands. Minutes felt like hours. Finally, a nurse came out. "She will live," she said. "The baby too." Relief hit me so hard I started crying. A little later, he was allowed to see her. I stayed behind, alone with my thoughts. That's when a man in a suit sat beside me. "You've caused a lot of trouble," he said quietly. I froze. I turned slowly. I had never seen him before. But his eyes told me everything. "Who are you?" I whispered. He smiled slightly. "I'm the one who fixes mistakes." My heart dropped. "You think you're safe because you're in a hospital," he continued. "This is where we work best." I stood up fast. "Stay away from them." He looked up at me. "You really loved him, didn't you?" My chest tightened. "Yes." "Then listen carefully," he said. "Walk away. Leave this town. Forget everything." "And if I don't?" I asked. His smile disappeared. "Then tomorrow," he said softly, "one of you won't wake up." He stood and walked away. Just then, a nurse called my name. "You should come," she said. "There's something wrong." My heart jumped. "With who?" She hesitated. "With him." My heart dropped to my feet. "What do you mean something is wrong?" I asked, my voice shaking. The nurse did not answer right away. She just turned and walked faster. I followed her down a long white hallway that smelled like medicine and fear. My hands were cold. My head felt light. When we reached the room, I stopped at the door. He was lying on the bed. Machines were connected to his chest. A line ran into his arm. His face looked pale, almost gray. The strong man who stood between me and danger hours ago now looked weak and small. What happened? I asked. The nurse sighed. He collapsed, she said. Severe chest pain. We're running tests. Collapsed. The word hit me hard. I stepped closer. His eyes were open. When he saw me, they softened. You shouldn't be here, he whispered. I swallowed my tears. I'm not leaving. He tried to smile, but it faded fast. They won't stop, he said. Even here. I leaned closer. The man in the suit spoke to me. His eyes widened. What did he say? That if I don't walk away, one of us won't wake up tomorrow, I said. He closed his eyes. Then they've already decided. My heart raced. Decided what? Before he could answer, the doctor entered. We need everyone out, the doctor said firmly. Now. But, I started. Please, the doctor repeated. I stepped back slowly. The door closed. I stood in the hallway alone. Minutes passed. Then more minutes. I thought of everything I had lost. The quiet house. The empty bed. The grave that might not even be real. I thought of the woman who almost died giving birth. Of the baby who did not choose this life of danger. And I thought of him. My husband. Or the man who used to be my husband. I sat down on a bench and held my head in my hands. Then I felt it. That feeling. The same one I felt the night of the fire. Something was wrong. I stood up fast and walked toward the maternity ward. The pregnant woman was lying on the bed, holding a small baby wrapped in white cloth. Tears were running down her face, but she was smiling. It's a boy, she said softly. The baby moved slightly. He was alive. I felt a strange pain in my chest. Happiness mixed with sadness. He looks like him, I whispered. She nodded. Yes. Then her smile faded. Did he tell you everything? She asked quietly. I shook my head. Not yet. She looked down at the baby. There's something you need to know. My heart tightened. What? She hesitated. He didn't just try to leave them, she said. He stole from them. I stared at her. Stole what? Information, she said. Names. Places. Secrets. My legs felt weak. Where is it? She looked at me. He hid it. Before the fire. Where? I asked. She swallowed. He said if anything ever went wrong, you would know. My breath stopped. Me. Before I could ask more, shouting filled the hallway. Code blue. Code blue. Doctors ran past us. My heart knew before my mind did. I ran. I ran back to his room. Nurses pushed me away, but I fought to see inside. I saw doctors pressing on his chest. I saw machines flashing red. I saw panic on faces that tried to hide it. Please, I whispered. Not again. Time stretched. Then everything stopped. A long, sharp sound filled the room. The doctor stepped back slowly. I'm sorry, he said. The words hit me like fire. I fell to the floor. Again. Not again. I don't know how long I stayed there. I don't remember crying. I don't remember breathing. All I remember is the silence. Later, when I could finally stand, a nurse handed me a small bag. These were in his clothes, she said gently. Inside the bag was a small key. And a folded piece of paper. My hands shook as I opened it. 3 words were written there. Under the floor. My blood ran cold. Because I knew exactly what that meant. Our old house. The house I still lived in. And suddenly, my phone buzzed. A new message. We know you found it. My heart nearly stopped when I read the message. We know you found it. I looked around the hospital hallway like a hunted animal. People walked past me, talking, laughing, living normal lives. None of them knew that my world was collapsing again. I closed my fist around the small key. They were watching me. I left the hospital without telling anyone where I was going. I did not even say goodbye to the woman or the baby. If I stayed any longer, they might use them against me again. Outside, the sky was gray. The air felt heavy. I did not take a taxi. I walked. Every step toward my house felt like walking back into a nightmare. My mind kept replaying his last moments. His warning. His eyes. The way he tried to protect everyone until the very end. "They've already decided," he had said. I reached my street and slowed down. Something was wrong. A black car was parked far down the road. The engine was off, but I knew better now. I walked past it without looking. My hands were sweating. I unlocked my door and went inside. The house felt colder than usual. Too quiet. I locked the door and stood still, listening. Nothing. I went into the bedroom and knelt beside the spot near the wall. My heart beat faster. I lifted the edge of the old carpet. There it was. A loose wooden board. My hands shook as I used the key to open the small lock hidden beneath it. The board lifted easily. Under the floor was a small metal box. I stared at it for a long moment. This box had destroyed lives. It had killed people. It had brought my husband back. And taken him again. I opened it. Inside were papers. Flash drives. A small phone. Names. Pictures. Dates. Everything. I felt sick. These were not just secrets. These were crimes. Big ones. People in power. People with money. People who could erase someone's past and rewrite another's future. I understood now. This was why they wanted him dead. This was why they wanted me silent. Suddenly, I heard a sound. A soft click. I froze. The back door. Someone was inside my house. I slowly stood up and looked toward the hallway. My heart pounded so hard it hurt. Footsteps. Slow. Careful. I grabbed the metal box and held it tight to my chest. A shadow moved across the wall. Then a voice. "You really don't listen, do you?" I stepped back. The man in the suit walked into the room like he owned it. Calm. Clean. Smiling. "I warned you," he said. "Walk away." I shook my head. "You killed him." He sighed. "He chose his ending." "He was trying to protect us," I shouted. "Yes," the man said softly. "And that's why he had to die." Tears filled my eyes. "What do you want from me?" He looked at the box in my hands. "That." "No," I said. He smiled. "You don't understand. That box is already useless." My chest tightened. "You're lying." He shook his head. "We copied everything months ago. This was never about the files." "Then what was it about?" I asked. He stepped closer. "You." I felt cold. "Me." "You saw him," he said. "You followed him. You kept asking questions. You don't stop." My phone buzzed. He glanced at it and smiled wider. "Answer it." I didn't want to. I answered. The pregnant woman's voice came through, shaking. "They took my baby," she cried. "Please, they said if you don't come, I'll never see him again." My legs nearly gave out. The man in the suit watched my face carefully. "Now," he said gently, "you get to choose again." "Where?" I whispered. He gave me an address. "An old warehouse by the river." "The box," he added. "And you come alone." The call ended. I looked at the man in the suit. "If I come, will they live?" He tilted his head. "One of them will." My blood ran cold. "One?" I asked. He smiled. I knew then. This was never about secrets. It was about breaking me completely. I grabbed my coat, hid the box inside it, and walked toward the door. At the doorway, I stopped. Because I heard something that made my heart stop. A knock on the front door, and a familiar voice called out softly, "Open the door. It's me." The voice froze my blood. "Open the door. It's me." My hand stopped on the handle. "That you beat it," I swallowed hard. My heart was beating so loud I thought it would give me away. I knew that voice. I had buried that voice. I had cried over it. I had watched it die twice. Slowly, I stepped back from the door. The man in the suit smiled. "You see," he said calmly, "this never ends." "Who is that?" I whispered. He shrugged. "Someone you love." The knock came again. "Please," the voice said. "I'm cold." Tears filled my eyes. "This is another trick," I said. "Is it?" the man replied. "Or is this the part where you finally break?" My phone buzzed again. A picture came in. The baby, crying, held by rough hands. My knees gave out. "Stop," I begged. "Please." The man in the suit crouched in front of me. "Here's how this ends," he said softly. "You give me the box. You walk away. You forget everything. And them?" I asked. He stood up. "That depends on you." The knocking stopped. Silence filled the house. Then the back door creaked open. I turned. He stood there. Not the man from the market. Not the man from the hospital. This one looked older. Thinner. His face was scarred in a different way. But his eyes, they were the same. "I'm sorry," he said. The room spun. "Who are you?" I cried. He stepped forward. "I'm the one you buried." The man in the suit sighed. "You weren't supposed to see him yet." The older man looked at me with pain. "They used my body," he said. "They used my face. They told your husband to disappear. I was paid to take his place in death." My chest burned. "Then who did I love?" "You loved him," the man said. "The real one. And he loved you enough to die twice." I screamed. I screamed until my throat hurt. "Enough," the man in the suit said sharply. "Decision time." He pointed to the door. "Warehouse. Now." I looked at the box under my coat. I looked at the man who shared my husband's face. I looked at the empty house that held too many ghosts. "I'll come," I said. The man in the suit smiled. The warehouse was dark and smelled of oil and water. A single light hung from the ceiling. They were all there. The pregnant woman, weak, crying. The baby, silent now. Men with guns. "This ends now," the man in the suit said. "The box." I placed it on the floor. He kicked it aside without opening it. "Good," he said. "You chose obedience." "Let them go," I whispered. He nodded. One of the men untied the woman and handed her the baby. She sobbed. "Walk," the man in the suit told her. She ran. I turned to follow. A gun clicked. "Not you," he said. My heart dropped. "You promised," I said. "I promised one would live," he replied. "Not everyone." I understood then. I closed my eyes. A loud bang filled the warehouse. I fell. But there was no pain. I opened my eyes. The man in the suit was on the ground. Blood spreading. The older man stood behind him, holding the gun. His hands shook. "They were never going to stop," he said. So I did. Sirens filled the air. Someone had called the police. The older man dropped the gun. "Tell them everything," he said to me. "Finish it." He walked into the darkness. I never saw him again. Months later, the truth came out. Names fell. Power broke. The box mattered after all. I moved away. I started over. Some nights, I still dream of the market. Of tomatoes. Of a face I loved. If this story touched you, please subscribe to this channel for more emotional and powerful stories like this. Like the video, Turn on your notifications so you never miss the next story. And tell me in the comments which part of the country you're watching from. Because some stories are not just told. They are survived.